big part of driving in the South is deer. And now there's big animals most everywhere, but they seem to respawn like a video game here. They are everywhere. And this is a story, not really a car story, but it does involve two cars. One, the one that hit some poor deer, which is going to lead to how this all happens. There is an older lady who lives next door to me, and I help her out with things and things like that and do, manual stuff for her, whatever I can do. She's a real sweet lady. So where we live up in the mountains, this kind of curvy road, and I don't know if it's geography or tradition or what, but it is like a deer trail of tears right out in front of these houses. Something about their little game path. It's right in a curve, and I guess like maybe the deer don't look two ways. I don't know, but almost every day there's a deer out there. I don't know what the attraction is, but this is like dead deer epicenter. So it is Thanksgiving last year, I guess, and she called me up that morning about 10 o'clock. She goes, Christopher, I got a bunch of buzzards on my roof. Like the vultures, kind of, big scavenger birds. I got a bunch of vultures on my roof, and my family's coming over for Thanksgiving in a little while. Can you come shoo them off of me, off my roof? So, absolutely, sure. If you've not seen a buzzard up close, they are like a vulture. You're going to think they're like a bunch of crows or something like that. They are prehistoric. They are 20 times the size of a crow. Their wingspan can be 6 or 7 feet. They're like condors that eat dead animals off the side of the road. They are big and scary and nasty. They have these claws, like talons, like these big naked heads. I mean, these are big birds. They're the size of like a turkey, like a Thanksgiving turkey, but with big black scary wings and a crooked neck. They are like evil big bird from Sesame Street. These are big birds. Grabbed a shotgun. She just lives a little trail through the woods. So grabbed a shotgun, hopped through the woods, and as I'm walking the trail through the woods, I'm expecting like 2 or 3 buzzards on the roof, but I can hear what sounds like a woodstock of buzzards, just cacophony of these things, squawking and scratching. And sure enough, I break the tree line. There are more buzzards on the roof of her house than will fit on her roof. It is like a mosh pit of buzzards. They're kind of shuffling down, and the ones on the end fall off, and then they fly around to the other end, and they're just kind of perpetually shut. They're squawking and everywhere. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So obviously something big has died in front of the house, presumably this deer. So let's get rid of the buzzards. So, rack one up in the air. The buzzards all scatter. However, they all scattered in my direction, and per military protocol, they all dump cargo before they take off. So out of nowhere, I just get rained on by literally 120 buzzards. It was like Gallagher show. Just, good thing I wear a cowboy hat. I'm just like, So I'm covered in just the most rancid, nasty buzzard poop. And I'm already dressed for my own Thanksgiving, where I'm supposed to be at. Got my one clean shirt on. So I'm covered in buzzard poop. I'm just like, man. Well, I'm already nasty. I may as well get rid of whatever this deer or whatever this is out front that's attracted all the buzzards. So I shoulder the strap on the shotguns. I throw it over my shoulder, and I go down to her driveway, and sure enough, right in front of her house, there's a big old buck has been hit probably several days before. He's become somewhat balloonish. He's been there a little while. So, but fortunately, he had handles, though. So I'm all right. So she has a relative who lives next door to her. I'm on the other side, so I don't want this anywhere near there. But down the road a ways across, there's kind of a ravine down the other side of the mountain. I'm just going to drag it down through the yards, cross the highway, dump it down there. That'll direct the buzzard somewhere else. So I start dragging this deer by the antlers, and he's just, I can't describe how nasty this is. I'm pulling him by the antlers and just kind of dragging along, and I'm kind of just going down the side of the road, but in the yard. And there's a somewhat busy highway in front of the house, but on a holiday, there's not that much traffic out there. And as I'm struggling along with the deer, shotgun over my shoulder, struggling along with the deer, I hear a car slowing down to a stop. And I look up, and it's, your typical family. Dad's driving, mom's in the front, SUV, kids in the back. They just stop, and Dad rolls his window down, and the very bossy-sounding wife, leans over him out the window, and she just goes really? It's Thanksgiving. There's children out here. You're disgusting. And they kind of peel off and drive away, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, they see the shotgun. They think I've, shot the deer somehow, and I'm just dragging him home by his head that morning. So, okay, fine. The wind's not really in my favor. It is, I can't describe how gross this is. I'm just dragging him along. He is like zombie deer, just it's gross. So I get to the part, I've gone past the houses, and I've got to go across the highway to the ravine. All right, and then, it's a busy road. It's kind of on a curve, so I'm going to be in a hurry. So I kind of wait, and I listen. I don't hear any cars coming. So I just grab by the antlers and pull really hard to make one big push across the road. And when I do, his head just comes off. It is like uncorking champagne of just pressurized putrid deer. It's just all over me like out of a movie. Just, oh my gosh. I mean, I cannot describe the grossness. So I just take the head, I just fling it across the road in the ravine, and I grab the feet, I just drag it across the road by the feet, and I push him off in the ravine, and I'm just like, oh, God, this is nasty. So I go back across the street, and I'm like, all right, well, I better stop, at least tell her I've taken care of the problem. So I go knock on her door, and this is kind of out in the country, you know, and she's got a modest little house out there, and she's an interesting lady anyway. She walks a lot, and she likes to keep the road tidy, so all the little random bits of garbage or whatever people throw out a window, things fall off at trucks, she'll kind of hang them in her trees, kind of like a Blair Witch kind of thing, you know, just one little, like, you know, baby doll arm and a flip-flop and a high-vis vest she puts on a feed sack for her chickens, and just there are these random things, and they all kind of hang from the trees. It's a little spooky anyway, but interesting. So I kind of wade through all that and knock on her door, and as I'm going up to the door, I noticed a bunch of yellow jackets kind of coming out from under the concrete step, and they like to burrow kind of underground. And she's got family coming over. Her son, who's older himself, is already there. And, you know, family's coming over. You know, they're going to stir up these yellow jackets. They're going to sting her, sting somebody. So I knock on her door. As she comes to the door, I say, you know, her little porch, I say, don't come outside. There's some yellow jackets out here. I'm going to go out to the barn, take care of them, but just let you know so you don't come out and get stung or anything. She's like, oh, okay, thank you. Why are you so dirty? I'm like, it's a long story, but it'll be okay, you know. So I go out to her barn, and there's an old jar out there from something. I found an old rag and some kerosene or some can of something, lawnmower gas or something. Put it in the rag, and what you usually do is you'll wait until the yellow jackets have all gone in for the night, and then just put the jar with the gas-soaked rag in it over the entrance, and the fumes kind of knock them all out and subdue them. Well, it's daytime. Some of them are out already, but at the very least, it'll kind of help. So I've got the jar, and I'm sneaking back up on the steps, and I'm kind of watching them and trying not to stir them up. They're slowly going back into their little underground hole. And just as I'm going to sneak the jar on there, the door cracks open. It's her son with a can of like hornet spray, and he's like, here, this will help. And he just sprays them, and immediately they just come flying out everywhere. Now I drop the jar. I'm just running in the yard smacking. They're stinging me everywhere. I'm just running at this point. I run out of the way, and I'm now covered in buzzard poop and pressurized deer and bee stings. It's not my day. And I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't, you know, now the yellow jackets are really stirred up. That's kind of defeated the whole purpose. So I'll go get her garden hose, and I start spraying water over there, and they think it's raining, so they all kind of go back to their nest, and I put the jar over it and hopefully subdue the yellow jackets. So I walk back through the woods back to my place, covered in yellow jacket stings and buzzard poop and pressurized deer, thinking that, like, I got up that morning to go have a nice meal with my family for Thanksgiving, and some car with a deer 3 days ago was going to rear out my entire day. So get out my phone, call my grandmother, and say, I'm going to be late.
Have you ever gotten an automated speeding ticket either from a fixed position camera or a school zone? In the US, that's less common than it is in Europe, and most of the time when you get the notification, they'll tell you that it's just about the payment, that they're not going to report anything. As long as you pay your speeding ticket, you won't have any points on your license or any additional risks. But did you know that those are some of the easiest tickets of all to fight and beat, especially with a partner like the Ticket Clinic? In Florida so far, they are 500-0. They've never lost fighting one of these tickets. So not only can they get them totally thrown out, but they can save you a ton of money. So check them out now at the link in the description below. You can actually just take a picture of your ticket, no matter when it comes in the mail or how you're issued a ticket, and text that picture to 305-305, and that'll get them on the case immediately. They'll let you know exactly what the proper course of action is and what their strategies are for every local municipality or jurisdiction to get your ticket dealt with. And of course, for regular tickets, for speeding tickets and things like that, the Ticket Clinic is your perfect partner to fight every one. They'll help you avoid costly fines, risk of license suspension, points on your license, jail time, higher insurance premiums, all the bad things that come with getting a bad ticket. The Ticket Clinic can help. They've got a nationwide network of attorneys that can help you find the perfect local partner that knows your area, knows your county, knows everything about it, and can help you fight your ticket and achieve the best possible outcome. So check them out now at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VINwiki and fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.